Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. Many people have had a lot of questions and not understood the reality regarding hazard pay for essential workers. Many believe that the federal government has already funded hazard pay for workers. This is not the case. As a nurse, I work with a number of workers who have been discussing this for several weeks, asking when they will get their hazard pay. I was one of the few that was not asking the question. Sure, it would benefit me, but I was not adding it into my budget. Just not counting on it. However, after the conversation you just continued to escalate emotionally. Always the geek, I did the research for everyone while they were discussing food and cars. So it took one single search term to find the answer, less than 2 minutes. Yeah, that's what happens when you take action and think critically and put your emotions on the back burner. You get answers. All right, so what has happened so far is that the first stimulus bill, quote, stimulus, provided funding for hospital systems. There was no requirement included in that bill for any funds at all to be paid to workers. Basically, it gave corporate executives and investors money. Soon after receiving that money, many medical systems began laying off personnel, closing entire floors of hospitals in the process. So when they talk about, that some hospital systems have paid, additional pay to medical personnel, they're completely leaving out the ones that they laid off. So it would take a separate executive order by Trump to establish funding to treat patients positive for the pandemic, because that was not included in that bill. So only on 4/26/20 was a bill proposed by Democrats which calls for hazard pay for essential workers, even as states are attempting to lift restrictions sooner than it is safe to do so. The bill will not likely be voted on at all for weeks or months, seeing that Congress has suspended session. It would have to be approved by the Democrat majority House and the Republican majority Senate to pass. The House may pass it, but it seems unlikely the Republican Senate would pass such a bill. Now, this bill includes hazard pay for all essential workers, funded by the Treasury Department, not by employers. It would be retroactive to earlier this year, and employers would have to provide proof that the funds were distributed to workers. It also includes caps of $35,000 for medical personnel and $25,000 for non-medical personnel, with additional caps according to income level above $200,000 before the hazard pay. So, right there in that part, you've got two things. Even if the Republicans were to vote, if they were going to approve it at all, though, these two things would have to be removed. Several things. Chances are, making it retroactive? No, they're not going to do that. All right? Providing proof that the funds were actually paid out to workers? No, they're not going to do that. Placing an income cap so that people above a certain pay range? Probably not going to do that. Anyway, so even if the bill were to pass, considering the existing issues with many thousands to millions being unable to obtain unemployment so far, we can reasonably assume that it would not be provided to workers for months, maybe even years, and probably fought in court. In addition, we can look at how the small business funding part of the first stimulus bill was co-opted by banks and larger businesses, and extrapolate from that corporate medical systems will make every possible attempt to seize the majority of the hazard pay and include administrative personnel who have remained at home through the pandemic. Now, I'm not being a pessimist here, just stating the known facts of living in a corporate supremacist economy. We know there will be massive corruption involved, and we know that corruption will go unpunished. All of this said, look, please be nice to essential workers. Don't be a freaking Karen. The workers keeping basic needs running do not always want to be there. They're there because of necessity. The vast majority are trying to keep their own basic living needs maintained, especially when you're speaking of those on the lower end of the income scale. In all cases, there is very real danger, and no small part of that danger is brought about or exacerbated by stress, which destroys the immune system. So it makes them more prone to getting an infection, any kind of infection. So they don't need you making it worse. You can be viewed as the person who improves a person's day or the one who pushes a person over the edge of anxiety and depression. Doing the latter adds nothing to your life or anyone else's. It does not make you more important. It makes you an ass that nobody needs around. Your own anxiety is no excuse, and no, you do not know if your anxiety or your living conditions are worse than anyone else's. The absolute best thing that we can do for each other at this time is be compassionate and patient. When all else fails, we have to rely on one another above all else. Always remember that you may be the one needing that compassion and caring next. The person you abuse today may be the one that you're asking for understanding from tomorrow. Just care about other human beings. Think beyond yourself. I'm always saying this. Be able to think beyond yourself. Don't be childish. It is maturity. It is a sign of maturity that you can think beyond yourself. So, all right, I'm going to keep this one short, and please share this video or podcast, whatever you want to call it. Talk about these issues. Tell other people. Be nice. All right? And hopefully this clarifies some of the stuff about hazard pay. We're just going to have to wait and see because, Congress isn't going to work on it very quickly. All right, so like I said, share this podcast. Talk about these issues. If you can, please donate $1 a month and help me expand the channel. And I hope you have a good day.